after losing the first game of this three-game home series against the NL East rival Miami Marlins on Tuesday night at Citizens Bank Park. The Phillies lost that ball game in extra innings, unfortunately 6-5, but they rebounded and they had a great win last night on Wednesday in Game 2 of this three-game series, an 11-1 victory over the Marlins to even up this three-game series 1-1, heading into today's series finale here on Thursday before finishing up the last series of the regular season at home at Citizens Bank Park against the Minnesota Twins, who are well below 500. Another team that the Phillies should definitely handle business against and at least come away with the series victory, if not sweep, to head into the playoff baseball and October baseball. Walker Buehler is on the mound tonight against the Marlins here. We may see Taijuan Walker piggyback off of him, just like we saw Walker Buehler piggyback off of Taijuan Walker's last start. Both of them pitched in that ballgame. You might see that again here. Welcome to Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Now, I know I'm always talking about the Phillies have to come up with these better clutch hits, not just relying on the long ball. When they have runners in scoring position, it's been an issue all year long, especially as of late. Just can't get that hit with runners in scoring position or multiple hits. But last night, oh boy, was that fun in that 11-1 victory over the Marlins. It was Homer Fest. Now, you heard of Schwarber Fest, you've heard of Hoagie Fest at Wawa. Last night was Homer Fest at Citizens Bank Park in front of the Philly faithful in South Philadelphia. The Phillies hit a franchise record 8 home runs in that ballgame, in that 11-1 win over the Marlins last night on Wednesday. Again, franchise record. They had tied that record with 7 a few times actually this year, but broke that record last night in that victory with 8 home runs. 2 guys specifically did most of that damage. Kyle Schwarber, the Schwarbarian, hit 2 solo shots, one to kick off that ball game pretty much against the Marlins, and then another one a little bit later on. That was his 55th and 56th home runs of 2025. He is now just 3 away from breaking the Phillies' single-season all-time record, right now held by Ryan Howard, the Phillies' all-time great. He hit 58 home runs in a single season, I believe, back in 2006. Kyle Schwarber with those 2 home runs last night and the home run as well on Tuesday. He is now up to 56 home runs, 2 away from tying Ryan Howard's record, 3 away from breaking that record. Still 4 games left to play. It's very doable. Obviously, he hits his home runs in bunches. We've seen that this series against the Marlins. We've seen it throughout his Phillies career. So that is right there within striking distance. If he doesn't reach that mark, oh well, he still had a very, very impressive and really historic season here in 2025. So Great game by Kyle Schwarber. And then somebody who one-upped him in the home run category, Edmundo Sosa, hit 3 home runs in that victory over the Marlins last night. A little bit of surprise, but Sosa's got that power. 3 home runs, 2 of them were solo shots. One of them was a 3-run home run. Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm, they also hit home runs. And Otto Kemp hit a 2-run home run for the Phillies to give the Phillies a total of 8 home runs, a new franchise record. But got to give Edmundo Sosa a lot of credit there. 3 home runs. He had a great night. He's been doing really good for the Phillies here in 2025. He's really been good for the Phillies since they acquired him a few years ago from the St. Louis Cardinals. Very good bench option. He gets plugged in there when guys go down with injuries, and he plays very well both defensively, offensively, obviously. Very good spark off the bench. He provides energy to the clubhouse, to the lineup, to the locker room. And we saw that last night with his big 3-home run game performance. So congrats to Edmundo Sosa. Congrats to Kyle Schwarber on his another multi-home run game for him. And congrats to the Phillies for hitting a franchise record 8 home runs last night in that 11-1 win over the Miami Marlins. All 11 runs were scored via the home run. So again, I talk about them having issues with runners in scoring position, coming up with a single, double, triple, whatever to drive in that runs. But last night, all home runs, all for the Phillies last night to score all of those 11 runs. Very impressive. Obviously, you're not going to do that every single ball game, so they still have to fix that issue of coming up in those clutch moments with runners in scoring position. But last night, very fun to watch. Also very fun to watch. Jesus Luzardo was on the mound for the Phillies last night, and he looked really, really good for the Phillies. He went 7 innings, allowed just 3 hits, 0 walks, which is always great to see out of any pitcher. 1 run, however, that was an unearned run, so 0 earned runs for Jesus Luzardo, and he struck out 10 batters, another double-digit strikeout performance for Jesus Luzardo for the Phillies starting pitching, and he picked up the win for the Phillies last night in that victory over the Marlins. That 1 run that he did allow came in the 2nd inning. It was unearned because there was a throwing error by Alec Boehm. So unearned for Jesus Luzardo, still allowed that run to score off an RBI single, but still unearned for him. 7 really good innings out of Luzardo. Really good after Christopher Sanchez also went 7 shutout innings on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, the Phillies bullpen offense couldn't really get things going. They lost that game to the Marlins in extra innings, but 2 great performances out of the Phillies starting pitching here. Back-to-back games. Hopefully we can see that again today with Walker Buehler, and then keep on continuing that momentum right into the playoffs, because that is one of their biggest strengths. Even without Zach Wheeler, who was down with injury, they're going to need to rely on these guys in the playoffs, and if they keep pitching like this, then they are going to have a very good shot at winning a World Series championship here in 2025. Now, with that win last night over the Marlins, the Phillies did clinch the first round bye in the playoffs for the second consecutive season. They clinched it last year as well. We all know what happened. Had that bye, ran into a very red-hot New York Mets team, and the Mets beat them in 4 games in the NLDS, sent the Phillies home early, packing from the playoffs. Hopefully we don't see that happen again here in 2025, but another first round bye for the Phillies. They clinched that first round bye because the Dodgers, who were behind them, trying to chase them for a first round bye, they lost on Tuesday night. The Phillies won yesterday. Their magic number was at 2 for that, so there it was. They have a first round bye. They are 2.5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers, who currently hold the number 1 seed in the National League. Very unlikely that the Phillies jump them. They've been trying to make up some ground, but still 2.5 games behind them. 4 games left. The Brewers have the tiebreaker if they were to finish the season with the same record. So you really the Phillies would have to win all 4 games. The Brewers would have to lose all 4 games pretty much for the Phillies to get that first round or number 1 overall seed and complete home field advantage in the National League playoffs, but they do have home field advantage in the NLDS with that number 2 seed, with that first round bye, and if they move on further past that and end up not playing the Brewers at all, if they get eliminated early, then the Phillies would have home field advantage throughout the entire National League playoffs until the World Series. So congrats to the Phillies on an impressive season. National League East champs, first round bye, great stuff, but that is not all we need. We are trying to have a World Series championship, a parade going down Broad Street for the first time since 2008. So getting into today's game a little bit, I did mention that Walker Buehler is on the mound for the Phillies today. Now, we all know he hadn't had a great year with the Red Sox before they released him, before the Phillies picked him up for the remainder of the season. He has had success in his previous career before 2025 with the Dodgers out there in LA, All-Star, World Series champion, postseason experience, pitching in the clutch, picked up that save in last year's World Series to give that the Dodgers team a World Series championship. But this may be his final audition. It's going to be his last time pitching here in 2025 in the regular season. Might be his final audition to not only have maybe relative experience, not experience, maybe the decision to play out if he's going to pitch in the playoffs or what. Obviously, not everybody is on the playoff roster, so there's only a select few guys that are going to be playing. You want your best players on the field, your best starting 5 or starting 4, starting 3, depending on what round you're in, your best couple of relievers, and your best starters and couple of bench options. So Walker Buehler hasn't had a great 2025. He's not guaranteed a playoff roster spot, so he has to pitch really well tonight to earn a playoff spot for the Phillies. Obviously, they would like him to, being a veteran, having that postseason pitching experience, coming up in clutch moments, high leverage moments in the playoffs. But it's really between probably Walker Buehler and Taijuan Walker for that one of the last playoff spots on the roster. We all know Taijuan Walker hasn't pitched in the playoffs his past couple of years just because he really hasn't been that great, but he has been pretty good overall here in 2025. It's a tough decision, especially if Walker Buehler goes out there and has a good start for the Phillies tonight. Again, we may see another piggyback game, this time with Walker Buehler starting, then Taijuan Walker coming in for relief, just like we saw Taijuan Walker start a few days ago, and then Walker Buehler come in relief. So final audition really for Walker Buehler, maybe for Taijuan Walker as well today against the Marlins for a playoff roster spot. We'll see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Walker Buehler on the mound tonight, going for a series win over the Marlins at Citizens Bank Park, and then wrapping up a 3-game home series against the Minnesota Twins to close out the 2025 regular season. I will not be posting any more videos for the rest of the regular season. I will be not around, won't be able to do it. So this is the final episode of Phillies Daily of the 2025 regular season. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for being great subscribers. Thank you guys for paying attention to me, listening to what I have to say, commenting, all that fun stuff, liking. So I will be back on Monday. We will be gearing up for Red October for Philadelphia Phillies playoff baseball. It's an exciting time. There's nothing better than it. Great atmosphere. I can't wait. Hopefully you guys can't wait. Thank you guys again for watching. And as always, go Phils.